Hey everyone, welcome to episode 9 of my Baldur's Gate 3 report cards. Today we're going to be covering Scorching Ray, and in the spirit of Halloween, Phantasmal Force, a spell that has some scary flavor and is terrifyingly bad. Let's get started with the good one, Scorching Ray. Scorching Ray. Hurl 3 rays of fire. Each ray deals 2d6 fire damage. This costs your action and spell slot. It is an attack roll spell with a 60-foot range. For upcasting, you get an additional ray for each spell slot above second. This is learned by sorcerers, wizards, fiend warlocks, light clerics, via magical secrets, eldritch knights, and arcane tricksters. So on a pure damage level, Scorching Ray does 21 damage on average, plus 7 per upcast. Let's see how this compares to other spells' average damage. So I've got this sorted by level 2 damage with level 1 and 2 spells, and you can see it compares quite favorably. It's the third highest at 21 average, just 1 point below Moonbeam and Inflict Wounds. As we upcast, it is still going to be very strong. It's not going to upcast as well as Moonbeam and Cloud of Daggers, but it does stay very high. As we sort by level 6 damage, it is tied for 6th, and you'll notice that most of these spells actually have something really bad going for them. We have the really strong Moonbeam, Cloud of Daggers, and Scorching Ray, the kind of premier damage spells at level 2. And then at the top is Disintegrate, which is a save or suck dex save spell. Blade Barrier, which has a broken DC. Cloud Kill, which is poison damage. And Lightning Arrow, which is only learned by rangers. And lastly, Harm, which has a whole lot of bad things going for it that we'll get into in the future when we cover level 6 spells. But Scorching Ray, it really upcasts well. And these three kind of premier level 2 damage spells are really the top. They're in the top echelon of damaging spells. They're all great in their own rights, and they're going to be kind of your best options for a lot of builds. But of course, average damage is far from the only thing that matters. There are a ton of other considerations, and now that we've taken a look at the damage, let's jump into the other stuff. Scorching Ray shoots 3 beams that deal 2d6 damage, which is much better than just dealing 66. Rays can be split among multiple targets. It's nice to take out low health enemies or spread conditions. Each ray can individually apply conditions and critically hit, and the damage is also more reliable because instead of relying entirely on one die to hit, the damage is spread out over 3. This also gives it a lot of good synergies with items. Most notably, there's the Hat of Fire Acuity. This hat will give you plus 2 arcane acuity when you deal fire damage. Each stack of arcane acuity gives you plus 1 to hit with spells and plus 1 save DC. This condition can get your spell save DC to a point where it is impossible to save against your spells, which is wildly powerful. And unless this was patched out, which I don't believe it was, Scorching Ray activates the hat on each ray. So if you cast this at 4th level, and you hit all the beams, you suddenly have a plus 10 to your spell save DC, which is really broken. There are also less broken options with the Callous Glow Ring, Hex, the Coruscation Ring, and many, many more. The one downside I want to point out is that fire damage is somewhat widely resisted. This should make sense. There are a lot of fiends in the game, but this is not spell ruining by any means. So the grades for this one are going to be pretty great overall. I have an S for base level early game and upcasting. Like all damaging spells, it gets weaker when you don't upcast it due to the damage just falling off, but less so for Scorching Ray because of its synergy with conditions and items. Even at 2nd level, in the mid to late game, you can use it to spread Radiating Orb, get Arcane Acuity, things like that. The middle section here is just all S's. The spell is among the highest damage spells in the game, with the bonus of working so well with conditions. It can be used in almost any encounter to great effect. Its ability to shoot multiple rays is unique and very powerful, and it doesn't even cost your concentration. I've also given this an S in specific builds because of the Hat of Fire Acuity. If you're using that piece of equipment, this spell is incredible. I also gave it a B in class synergy as a bonus because it works especially well with Draconic Bloodline sorcerers and Evocation wizards who can add their spellcasting modifier to the damage. Overall, this spell is going to be another S tier damage spell. Let's move on now to Phantasmal Force. Phantasmal Force. Deal damage to a creature each turn. At the start of its turn, it takes psychic damage. Each subsequent time it takes damage, the damage type of Phantasmal Force changes to match that damage type. This costs you your action and your spell slot and your concentration, and it is an intelligence save. There's no upcasting benefit. This is learned by bards, sorcerers, wizards, Grey Old One and Archfey warlocks, arcane tricksters, and eldritch knights. So you heard me right. This spell does 1d6 damage per turn for a second level spell slot. That is abysmal. 3.5 average damage per turn is beat by basic cantrips. And let's take a quick look at the damage table to see this. Alright, so I have filtered on cantrips, level 1 spells, and level 2 spells, and sorted by level 2 damage. Not every cantrip is in here. There's just one of each type of die. So we can see Phantasmal Force here is 3.5 average. It's above Vicious Mockery, because that's 1d4. It's the same as a Thorn Whip, levels 1 through 4, but the minute any of your cantrips upgrade at level 5, they're all going to do more damage on average. Hex has a big asterisk around it because it's really dependent on how many attacks you can do, so it's dealing the same damage as Hex if you were only to do one attack on the Hex target per turn, and Hex can last through multiple encounters and multiple targets. It's the same damage as Wrathful Smite, which is a really weak spell, and the rest do better than it. This spell does very, very little damage. It is pitifully low. 1d6 is nothing. Now, as a benefit to this damage, you can change the damage type to be the best type possible. If you're fighting someone vulnerable to cold damage, you can cast Phantasmal Force and then hit them with cold damage to change its type. And then you have a whopping 7 average damage. And it can't even be upcast. Your best case scenario, since you can't even upcast it, this does 12 damage per turn. You roll the highest damage number it can against a vulnerable target, and it does 12 damage. This is absolutely not worth your concentration, your spell slot, being one of your known spells, whatever. It is categorically bad. I've got one good thing here. It's an intelligence save, which is good. I think it's one of the premier spell saves in my mind, but that's nowhere near enough to make this spell good. And I'll also note this spell does no damage on cast, only at the start of turns. So when you cast it, you're most likely going to get at least one turn off, but you don't even instantly deal damage. Grades are very, very low. F's almost all around. F at base level at any point in the game. F's for everything but uniqueness. I gave it a D because changing the damage type is cool and it's useful, but the base damage is so low that it doesn't matter. It cannot overcome the huge downsides of this spell. Overall, it's going to be a low F. And now let's jump over to the tier list to put these in. Let's do Phantasmal Force first. This is going to be right near the bottom of F tier. Like, I'm considering, I think it's going to be above Bark Skin. Ray of Enfeeblement, this is tough. It's like, it's in this area. I think it's definitely worse than Protection from Poison. Resistance to Poison is at least something. Whereas this spell is a total waste. You know what? Man, I kind of want to even put it below Bark Skin. Like, I think the use case of concentrating on Bark Skin on your summons is better than whatever you could do with Phantasmal Force. Maybe I'm overhating it, but it's a low F tier. I'm gonna actually put it at the bottom for now. Scorching Ray. This one really comes down to this. Are you using the Hat of Fire Acuity? If the answer is yes, then this one is top of S. It's like above Cloud of Daggers, probably still behind Darkness, but it is right towards the top. If the answer is no, I would put it here, like last. Maybe even like, probably not high A. I think it is still an S tier spell. It's still really strong because it can stack damage riders, other conditions, and it just has good damage. But without the Hat of Fire Acuity, it's not like broken. So it's kind of hard to decide. I think I'm going to put it in front of Aid, but behind Cloud of Daggers. And if you're using the Hat of Fire Acuity, it would be here. If you're not, it would be here, but I'm going to put it in the middle here. That looks right to me. I don't love that I'm just putting every S tier spell above Aid, but you know, I think that's right. I think that is how it is. All right, yeah, that's all I've got for today. Remember to check out the polls. I'll link them in the comments. They'll be not in the comments, in the description, and they'll be released tomorrow. And then I'll put these spells into the community tier list, and maybe even I don't have a poll for it, but we'll see if I'll gauge the comments and see generally if people think Cloud of Daggers, Scorching Ray, which is better. But yeah, thank you all for watching. That's all I've got for today. Have a good one.